folks, how you doing? Welcome to another episode of Bob's Bottom Shelf. In a prior episode, we went over a few basic, affordable, top-of-the-bottom shelf types of liquor. Today, we're going to cover a few more. I'm going to tell you probably the most important thing you need to know about tequila when you're picking it out is that it should absolutely be 100% agave. If your bottle does not specifically say it's 100% agave, chances are it's some sort of chemical composition meant to mimic the taste of real agave in tequila, and you should probably stay away from it unless that's all you can really afford. So you have three basic types of tequila. You have Blanco, Reposado, and Anjeo. Your Blanco tequila is a light, clear, unaged. You use it to make things like your classic margarita. Right here I have a bottle of El Jimador Blanco light tequila. This is of course 100% agave. You could get this for about $20 a bottle. You could also pick up another brand I recommend called Azul. It's a little more affordable at about $16 to $17 a bottle. Next you have your Reposado tequila, which is aged from 2 months to 12 months. It's a bit darker, more of a golden color, has a bit more richer and a complex flavor. The next type of tequila we have is your Dark Aged tequila. Now this is aged a minimum of 12 months or a year. It results in a darker color similar to your whiskey. It's meant to be drank neat or maybe on ice. And there's a few cocktail recipes specifically that call for it that I know of, or you could pretty much substitute it for any dark liquor that your recipe calls for, like your whiskey. For your Dark Aged tequila, I'm gonna go with Hornitos. This was about $25, and of course it's 100% agave. Pretty much any tequila in the $25 price range that is 100% agave, you can't really go wrong with. Last time I recommended Cruzan for your light white rum. Today I'm gonna stick with Cruzan. This is your Dark Aged Rum. Dark isn't really referring to anything specifically other than the color, which could even be artificially colored. The bottle specifically states it is aged for 2 years, and it's the same price as your Cruzan White Light Rum, about $10 a bottle. Now your next type of rum is your spiced rum. This is Lady Blight. You want to go for Captain Morgan's when you can, or even your Kraken dark spiced rum. But if you can't afford those things, you could get Lady Blight, Admiral Nelson. They cost about the same, $6 to $8 a bottle. They tend to lean towards the vanilla notes, so you don't really make cocktails with this. You just kind of mix it with Coke, maybe Dr. Pepper. Moving on from rum, we're going to cover some more whiskeys. Today we have Rye Whiskey. I'm going to recommend Old Overholt. It's about $16 or $17 a bottle. Now what really differentiates rye from bourbon? Rye it's leading more with rye as opposed to corn, like bourbon has, and it tends to be drier and has more spicier notes. Whereas your bourbon is more sweeter, more of a richer flavor, and it has more corn in the mash bill. Your rye obviously has more rye in the mash bill. The next type of whiskey is Canadian whiskey. Now when you can, you obviously want to go for Crown Royal. However, if you can't afford that, you can go with Canadian Mist, Windsor Canadian, Canadian Club. Canadian Mist is $10 for this 750 milliliter bottle. Windsor Canadian is also about the same price. What differentiates Canadian whiskey from bourbon or rye? It's known for being more smooth. It has more grains in its mash bill. It might also add wheat and barley into it. I want to talk about brandy. Brandy does lean towards your genuine top shelf items, especially if you're getting into cognac. For your average top of the bottom shelf, just regular brandy, you can't really go wrong with Paul Masson. You could pick up a 375 milliliter bottle for $5 to $7. Well, folks, that'll do it for today's episode of Bob's Bottom Shelf. Hopefully you like what you're seeing so far. If you do, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, and leave me some comments, some feedback, so I know what you guys like, what you want to see, and how I can improve going forward.